Hello, this is Dr. Dave Maslach, and I'm talking to you about reciprocity.com, the sharing economy proofreading platform that I'm trying to build. The E is spelled with a 3. And in this particular video, I really wanted to talk about love your life, not theirs. This is about Rachel Cruz's new book, and I really wanted to talk about sort of social comparison and selection bias in social media. So I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I am really interested in this topic. It's something that I'm passionate about. I study vicarious learning and social comparison, and I think this is a really nice title of a book of detailing exactly what's going on with this particular phenomenon. So what I'm going to go into is tell you the basic story behind Love Your Life, Not Theirs. This is Rachel Cruz's book. And then get into, what do I mean by social comparison and vicarious learning? And then finally, what's it going to do and how can you actually deal with these sort of situations in your own life? I think is a really interesting, fascinating phenomenon, right? So what is love your life, not theirs? It's basically about this idea that when you're going on sort of our culture or the way that we live right now within North America, within the Western countries, is we look a lot at our social media. So things like Facebook, Twitter, the academic life, it's ResearchGate. What else is there? There's LinkedIn. There's all these social media platforms that we use on a daily basis. A lot of people use on a daily basis. And when you look at those, what you're seeing is people's very positive images of themselves. They typically only put up pictures of things and sort of quotes and stuff that are very positive things that have happened to them or silly things that have happened to them. Sometimes you might get something really negative, like a death in the family, right? So something like that. That's what they're putting up on social media, and they're sort of looking at the things that are remarkable for that day and posting it on social media so that they can get likes, so they can get views and stuff like that. So that is the general story of what's happening, and really what's interesting here. I'm going to get into the sort of Rachel Cruz's general idea. But there is this thing called social comparison. This is where we this is a natural human process. It's a natural process that happens in basically any living thing where we look at others and we try to figure out what they're doing and we try to emulate, copy, sort of do exactly what they're doing in order to gain some sort of performance advantage. That whole process is called vicarious learning, where we look to see, if there's a population of whatever it is, if there's a sample of whatever it is, we look at the ones that seem to be, performing the best, and then we try to emulate those. So we try to copy the actions that they perform that led to that performance, right? So this is kind of a normal thing that we do. Happens in people, it happens in animals, dogs, cats, whatever it is. They're looking at sort of the leader, and then they're trying to emulate those actions and trying to get the same outcome of those actions, right? So that is the basic synthesis of what happens. However, in the sort of social media platform story that we have, or the social media, so the idea behind social media is you promote anything, you put up there things that you thought were remarkable for the day, and we're filtering. What's happening is we're getting this sort of filtering effect of all of this information. First of all, you as a person are only promoting the things that are remarkable for you, right? So they're either going to be very positive or very negative for that day, if not for that month, if you're not going on there very often, right? So second of all, other people around you react to those particular events in different ways. If it's a really mundane thing, we don't care. Nobody ever does anything. They don't react to that. They don't pay attention. They just keep on scrolling, right? Scroll, 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 scroll. But if it's something remarkable, what they do is they look at that and they might make a comment, right? So for example, let's say you got a new car and then people put on there, oh, great, beautiful new car, right? If you got a new house, they might say, oh, great, a lovely new house, right? if you got whatever it is, if you got something new and fantastic or whatever it is, maybe you got a promotion at work and they say, wow, that's fantastic, you got a promotion at work. So what happens is that not only you are filtering those behaviors, but others are filtering those behaviors. And then there's a third thing that happens in the background that most people don't realize, is that the social media platforms themselves are promoting the ones that typically get that they're amplifying the ones that typically get some sort of response from people. Right, and the reason why they do that is it generates more revenue, because that keeps you on their platform longer, right? So the various ones like Facebook, right? So they are going to keep you, they're going to promote the things that are remarkable so that you're like, wow, this is really cool. And then you start to keep scrolling through, the media feeds that you get. So this is a really interesting thing, because what that creates, it's promoting only the remarkable ones. So that makes you think, what's happening is that makes you think in sort of today's culture that only remarkable things happen to other people. And what you start basing it on, you start framing it relative to what you did right now in your day-to-day life. Our day-to-day life, most people's lives are really boring and mundane. Unfortunately, that is life, right? That they're really boring. Every single day you do the exact same routine. You get up, you eat your breakfast, you take your whatever to, you go to work, and then you sit there for 9, 10, 11, 12 hours a day writing something or programming or whatever it is that you're doing. You're sitting there and you're doing that particular task. It's really mundane. You have the same conversations. Then you go home, you eat the same dinners, and then you go to bed. You do all of the same stuff on a regular basis, right? So that is, everybody's lives are really typically very mundane, except for every once in a while, we are punctuated by things that happen, right? So you might get some sort of exciting event that happens, some outlying event every couple of months. That's when you go and most people promote those things on social media, those very remarkable events, they promote them. And then we get a sense, because our Rolodex on all of the friends that we have on Facebook, we have hundreds of them. The algorithms are going to promote the ones where people have, or the particular people that have these remarkable events that happen, right? So it's going to pop up very quickly. And then we see that their life is so remarkable, and my life is really boring and mundane, right? So it's a simple selection problem that happens, but it's compounded with this sort of social comparison that we get, which is a natural and it's actually a really effective way to learn. It's a really effective way to do things if you're in close quarters. If you think of the way that we used to live, we used to be in clans, right? A long time ago, and we were in close quarters, and we can observe all of the other actions that other people are doing. If you think of a pack, a dog pack, for example, you can observe everything that everybody is doing. Now we're getting to the point, because of information technology, that we are being removed from observing all the things that happen on a day-to-day basis for those particular individuals, and we're seeing only things that are really successful or whatnot, right? So then we try to emulate. What happens then? We try to emulate based on what we observe in social media. We're not seeing the regular everyday behaviors on a regular basis. And then when we try to emulate them, two things happen, right? One of them is that we feel really upset, anxious. We get this, what's called cognitive dissonance. We feel just kind of not very nice with ourselves because we can't achieve what they have. Or we do try to achieve what they do, and we use various levers in our life to make our life a little bit more precarious, right? So we might go into debt. That's what their story is, that they go into debt. Maybe we do really extreme things to copy what they're doing, right? So then we start putting out these more extreme videos, for example, and we get more likes, right? You do more and more extreme things, and everybody's like, that's really cool, right? You do all these silly things like the cinnamon challenge, whatever it is, right? You do all these more extreme things, and that gets promoted on Facebook, and they're very risky behaviors, right? You either do those risky behavior sort of things. Maybe, so for example, I'm creating this website that I'm going to be honest with you right now, it's not making any sort of money, but then some people might say, oh, wow, look at this, there's a cool website that, you're creating. I'm going to try to copy that. Well, you don't realize that there's a lot of effort that's put in behind it. There's all this sort of things to think through. There's so much to be done. It's really difficult to do behind the scenes, right? So it's really easy to observe and say, oh, that's really easy to do. But actually, when you go and do it, it's really hard. So you're going to do these risky behaviors, going to try to copy something that's really risky and difficult to do. It's the same as, maybe somebody got a degree of some sort, like a physician, right? So you're like, oh, I could do that. I could become a physician. Then you realize what it takes to become a physician. It's really difficult to do, and it's hard to do. There's a lot of stuff that you have to go through to get to that point. And so you start doing these risky behaviors. You start thinking, well, I could do that. And then you start going into debt to go get that degree. And then you realize I can't do that. Like just a bunch of craziness, right? So long story short, we have this problem where we have sort of a selection bias that's happening, and we have social comparison that's being created and amplified on social media. So what can you do to deal with this particular phenomenon? And I think in my take, what the best thing that you could do is limit the amount of social media that you get. And I know that is really difficult to do. So I don't think that is really realistic for most people, because it's part of our culture and it's part of the things that we do. And there's a lot of useful things that happens, right? It's kind of like saying, go become a hermit in this day and age. And that's not reasonable in any sort of way. So what you should do, and I think what you should do, is realize that life is very mundane and it's very ordinary. And the things that you do on a regular basis is going to be the same thing every day. But there's going to be one little moment in your life. There's going to be one little moment in that entire day. There's going to be one little thing that you really like and that you thought was a very positive moment. And everybody has that relative to that day. So think in that day. Maybe you do different things like a diary for that day, right? And you think about the things that you're very appreciative of, or the things that happened that were very remarkable to you. Maybe you just sit down and think about that for 2 minutes on every day, that, wow, this is really cool. It's really cool that I can, so yeah, these videos are not getting a lot of views and stuff like that, but it's really cool that I can actually sit in front of you and tell you this kind of stuff. This is remarkable. That 5 years ago, 10 years ago, this wouldn't have been possible. Now I could do it. This is so remarkable, and I feel so appreciative of being able to do this, that I just feel, this is really cool. This is my way of giving back. I know it's a little way, but it's a way of giving back and helping other people out, and it sincerely makes me feel a lot better inside to be able to do this. So that's all I wanted to say, is just make sure in your day-to-day that you're taking a lot of appreciation. You're focusing on what really good things happen to you in that one day and what you can appreciate. And there's so many things once you start thinking about it. And then you start sort of digging down deeper, and you become so thankful for everything that happened to you. And all of that social media stuff sort of disappears. That social comparison stuff disappears. Because that, most of us live a pretty good life, especially in Western countries, that we do live a pretty good life. We're pretty fortunate in what we have, and it's really remarkable that the things that we do have, and you really do have to appreciate the wonderfulness that we have in a day-to-day basis. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much. If you like these videos, give me a thumbs up. Watch a couple of more. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Take care, and have a wonderful day. Bye.